You never were ashamed. You came into this world spotless. Fire raging behind your eyes on a blank canvas. You were yet unnamed by the world. You still hadn't mastered scaling down. You were sufficient without ever questioning it. Next came the guises, the criticism, the snide looks, the labels that stab like thorns, and finally the punishments. You also came to an unspoken understanding at some point. Perhaps if I remain anonymous, they will cease harming me. You're not to blame. It's genetic, learned, implanted. This is the infection that starts when another else makes you believe that your authentic self is an issue that requires fixing. Now I'll tell you the truth. Disgrace is not a character defect. This is a method of regulation. Powerful people are kept in check by this leash, the cage that fear builds to keep your soul submissive. The same silent lie is reinforced every time you avoid speaking up, chuckle to blend in, or agree to anything someone says to you because you're afraid they'll reject you. My current state is not permissible, but you're not overdoing it. There is no damage to you. You are absolutely justified in wanting and desiring things that you desire and in developing into the person you are. Embrace your uniqueness. It is you who is holding it, and you are free to set aside. Now, we could discuss euphoria, the mental high of rediscovering one's spirit. The word may be unfamiliar to most, yet you could feel its presence. Your intuition, your emotions, and your rational mind all agree at once. It's that moment of profound inner alignment. That sudden realization comes like a bolt of lightning. It's euphoria to stop acting when you tell the truth, both to other people and to yourself. Holding shame prevents you from reaching it, because when you're ashamed, you see everything, including yourself, through a distorted lens. Concealing your inadequacy will prevent you from constructing a prosperous future. Here we have the core. Poisoned soil cannot support the growth of affirmations. More positivism isn't necessary for you. If you want to break free from shame, you have to take off the mask and look at your beliefs. When you drag, you're free, placing in the light and observing its disintegration. We need to discuss mindset. Most people believe that having a good outlook is all about. On the other hand, optimism is not a mindset. A mindset is a building block. It's the framework of your own universe. Furthermore, if shame is the bedrock, then any belief you construct upon it will crumble. You learn to think like a caveman, instructed to look for thumbs down, instructed to maintain silence when speaking on matters of great importance, received instruction on associating visibility with risk. Mindset wasn't it. Conditioning was that. When conditioning is over, mindset starts. This mindset shifts when you begin to question the veracity of the self-deprecating narratives you've heard. Simply put, the majority of individuals fail to fully experience life. Their lives are defined by the trauma they have experienced. They live in constant terror. They conform to societal norms and their parents' unfulfilled ambitions, and then they question why they don't feel anything. You wish to alter your life trajectory? Transform the heart that has been experiencing it. Now, faith is the motor, but guilt takes control of it. You build a life for yourself when you tell yourself you're inadequate. As evidence of that, though it may not be accurate in all cases, it serves as a constant attempt by your mind to explain away your pain. It wants a purpose for the suffering. In this way, it constructs a story in which the suffering is justified. You can choose to believe something or not. Believing you're broken will cause you to act accordingly. Believing you are unworthy will cause your standards to reflect that belief. Alternately, you can uproot the belief and replace it with something else. Nobody authorizes you to. Trust in your abilities. Yes, you may have it. Faith does not necessitate proof. Yes, it makes it manifestation, that hallowed power. People generally feel uninspired. Not at all. Their meaning is unclear. They seem to be lost in life's maze, hoping someone will point them in the right route. However, you were never meant to be a follower. Your true purpose is to perceive. Nothing in our world is crystal clear. It's created in the dark. You need to be quiet for a while until you can feel the truth smolder like fire in your chest. Embracing vulnerability is the surest path to clarity. It arises from confronting the issue and contemplating what aspects of one's identity have been concealed by external influences. The illusions are burned to dust by clarity, yet it's a liberating kind of anguish. The agony of being born again. And now, vision is no longer a pipe dream. Memory is what it is. Their future is not in their hands. Keep it in your memory. That familiar sensation, that waning connection to your true self before the world encaged you, is real. You who, deep within, is still a dancer. The voice that whispers in the night, saying there is more, is vision. I don't. Greater things to accomplish, more to become, rather than more to demonstrate. You have authority when you have a vision, because an individual with complete identity and travel plans poses the greatest threat to the system. It was meant for you to forget, to be blind, to keep your head down and your light muted. And that's why shame was bestowed upon you at a young age. No longer, though. Bigger dreams aren't necessary. Get a mirror with better reflection. Do you know why? We must be forthright. A lot of individuals aren't looking for meaning in life. They're attempting to find significance while fleeing embarrassment, doing more, being more, and accomplishing more. Yet, finding meaning in life isn't about running away from your worst fears. It's about finding your own identity. It's hard to come by. Discovering it is your own process, identical to treasures hid under ruins. Truth and action meet at the point of purpose. However, when you tell yourself a lie about your identity, you avoid touching it. I refuse to abandon myself one more day, not to be accepted, not to be understood, not to make others comfortable. That is when your purpose begins. You are not born to be digestible, birthed into. Ascend to a heavenly realm. Sacred discipline, not the punitive type. Willpower to get up when embarrassment tells you to sit down. Having the self-control to speak up when remaining silent would be safer. The self-control to get there before you're comfortable. The self-control to isolate yourself from those who benefit from your treachery. Repetition of truth is the furnace where identity is reshaped. This grace will murmur. Such treatment is unjustified. Corrective action is taken. Look at me anyhow. Do something. True metamorphosis does not take place in your imagination. Continuity is key. A concept is potential. Power is in doing. Furthermore, hesitancy fosters shame. Shame takes time. Disgrace waits. Feeling guilty tells you to think about it later or next time, perhaps after they're on board. However, the remedy is to take action. Take action to break the spell. No need for perfection. It must be authentic. One transparent choice, one boundary established, and one truth set out that you previously kept hidden. Reclaiming the land that shame attempted to take is done in that way. Simply said, shame starts to build up the more you behave in harmony with your true self. Freak out. Its hold on you will loosen the moment you cease seeking approval from other people. Rewriting the narrative occurs with every action that goes against your old story. Neglecting to act on your ideas will prevent you from recovering. Movement promotes healing. Get moving, even if you're nervous. Whatever the case may be, despite the fact that the guilt cries more. You are more than that scream. The sound of ancient shackles snapping is audible. Thank you. However, not the kind advocated in inspirational literature. Certainly not the superficial type that encourages you to put a grin on your face even when you're hurting. True appreciation is made in the fire. A thankful person says things like, "Thank you for the betrayal. It showed me who I'm not. Thank you for the failure. It revealed where I was still hiding. Thank you for the shame. It was the teacher that showed me the cage. Thank you for these things. They do not distract." Chemistry meets alchemy. It's the key to turning your injuries into knowledge. For stories you weren't involved with creating, it's a way to claim authorship again. Shame becomes meaningless the second you stop denying and rejecting your history and begin to accept it. Remain as a resident. Anger can't win the inside struggle. The journey cannot be hated while the person you became can be loved. Flexibility concurrently. You have to turn into water. Being ashamed makes you unyielding. A message to freeze, hide, or blend in is included. You become more pliable, adaptable, and unstoppable as you heal. You come to a profound realization the second you release the identity and guilt that were imposed on you. You were never intended to remain still. You do not define yourself by your past. That is not what you are. Nobody uses you as a gauge for character. Your transformation is underway. Without end, there is shedding every day. Preserving your former self is unnecessary. If you want other people to feel comfortable with you, you don't have to maintain your previous persona. Those who care about you most will rejoice in your maturation. All the others were merely devoted to your facade. You're not weak if you can adapt. Intelligence is it. Not everyone who wants to change the world for themselves ends up at the top. They remain firmly grounded in their identity while adapting to suit the current situation. Keep moving. Avoid danger. Remain loyal. Staying strong. The definition of resilience, according to them, is the ability to pick oneself up after falling down. However, there is more to the story. Standing up without being asked to justify yourself is a true sign of resilience. Repeatedly appearing while no one is around to applaud is it. It's re-entering your life after you felt compelled to leave it due to shame. Standing firm in the face of adversity is more indicative of resilience than how loud your shout can be. Shame would have you think that a breakdown equals failure. Breakdown, however, is holy. A failing system is a dying system in its last stages. On the other hand, every fall brings with it a chance for renewal. You are still who you are. It was never you, and now you're letting go of it. Remembering that every scar can be turned into a seed is a key component of resilience. Educating oneself. Here is where the line between the truly evolved and the just repetitive starts to blur. Because learning requires acknowledging your ignorance, shame prevents people from seeking knowledge. It entails being aware of one's own blind spots. It signifies that you are recognized as a work in progress, not a perfectionist, though there isn't. Strength in acting. It is not the possessors of all knowledge who are considered knowledgeable. Even after they've achieved great success, they show a willingness to learn. An act of defiance against humiliation is learning. Wisdom allows you to progress, whereas shame implies you should already know. Sovereignty is yours the instant you prioritize development over appearance. Outward appearances are the primary focus of the fake self. Obsessed with growth is the actual self. Keep in mind what has already happened rather than trying to prove or impress. Laid to rest. Changing identities is not happening to you. Everything that caused you to lose your identity is being unlearned from you. Since the goal here isn't progress, we may go on to the return. Return is the key. Back to oneself. Back to the spirit. Go back to the middle. This is not a straight line. It repeats itself. You started off solid. The two of you were separated. Memory by memory, boundary by boundary. You're now piecing yourself back together. You come back. Feelings of embarrassment start to go away as you proceed. Why? Because when we accept ourselves completely, we can't possibly feel shame. Not flawlessly, not audibly, but entirely. Shouting is unnecessary. No need to persuade. Never forget that you were never the story's problem. You sit down to pen a fresh one today, this time with fire, spine, and breath. You return to your life as the person you've always wanted to be, rather than the one others imposed on you. Faceless, remorseless, and free. The name that shame sought to wipe from you is yours to regain. No sound. Silence may do two things: break you or build you. Remaining silent. Suppression and remembering in quiet. The majority of the population resides in the first. That stillness that accompanies humiliation, which follows rejection, betrayal, and the repeated repression that causes your voice to lose its ability to rise. Yet another hush falls over the room. Those that buzz with strength. Those you encounter when you're around people who have moved past the need for affirmation. It isn't that there is no sound. It's when power is physically present. Simply said, when you stop trying to prove your point or gain someone's understanding, you start to truly shine. Manifestly clear. Soak up their misunderstanding. Permit them to murmur. Permit them to put labels on things they might not understand. What you say is completely unrelated to their commotion. The kind of silence that doesn't require an explanation, a show, or a mask transforms you into a powerful force that can shake the earth without the aid of thunder. Personal space. Being approachable to everyone is not your purpose here. Your purpose here is not to be cordial. Nothing you own here rightfully belongs to you. Walls are not boundaries. No, those are doors. They remain open with you. With their protection, you are held in high regard. They keep you company. Your becoming is safeguarded by them. It is not impolite to say no. It is accountable. Choosing to quit isn't a sign of weakness. Very astute. Refusing to provide an explanation does not constitute hubris. It is the position. Because you learn to endure, to over-explain, and to absorb suffering in order to escape rejection due to your shame. However, healing teaches you to distance yourself from things that disrupt your serenity. You are not alienating individuals whenever you express your disapproval. A part of you is being torn out, returning control to you. Setting boundaries teaches others about your identity. Most significantly, the way you keep in mind that true power isn't shouted is crucial. It has no elasticity. It doesn't demand special treatment or plead for inclusion. A powerful person creates their own table. Calm, secure, and firmly planted. Embracing your wounds without trying to hide them is the key. From entering any space without the need to exert dominance, since you are whole in and of yourself. Power isn't shy about seeking approval. All that's required is job description. No one should be applauding it. It requires certainty, conviction, and uniformity. You can't just stumble onto power. You seem to recall it. That's not a task you complete. You truly exemplify it. The world's approval does not make you powerful. As soon as you realize you don't need it, you'll feel empowered, bringing everything together. A better version of oneself isn't necessary for healing. It's about reclaiming your dark, broken, and abandoned selves. The situation is not evolving. It's coming together. You learn to give up some of your identity. The intensity, the sadness, the tenderness, the longing, the gut feeling. Those are not defects, though. You call them your fire. Eliminating them is unnecessary. You should take them back. The goal of integration should not be perfection. What matters is being truthful. The darkness you dread is really just the strength you stowed away in shame. Those feelings you try to bury are really the reality banging on your ribcage. When you integrate, the internal conflict stops. Why? Not because you choose a side. Rather, you were just as welcoming when you got home. Spring into life. The point is not to get better so you can deal with a dysfunctional society. The goal here is to become well enough to construct a new one. One in which your value is unrelated to how much you accomplish. Where you can freely express yourself without fear of judgment or having your individuality diluted for perceived ease. Because it destroys the life you outgrown, awakening hurts. But it is in the ashes that you find the self-respecting side of you. The eyewitness who saw you fall and then stand up is there before you, and suffered and fought without ever departing. And that aspect of you isn't looking for flawlessness. Your allegiance is all he desires. A story that kept you little was never designed to keep you sleeping. Your purpose in life was to ascend, to awaken, and to come back.